I'm making this as a follow-up video to one where I talked about why some people rapidly progress in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. The core concept of what I was trying to get at was the idea of a skill progression curve. If you look at your skill, let's just say objectively, even though there is no real objective measure of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu school skill, over the course of, let's say, a 10-year period of training, if you trained 5 days a week, every single day of the week, your training curve and skill over time would look something roughly like this. It would go up pretty fast. Now, if you were training 2 days a week, your skill over time would look something like this. It would still be going up over time, but it just wouldn't be going up as fast as the person who made it 5 days a week. And here's the kicker. If one curve is going up at a rate like this, and another curve is going up at a rate like this, even if this person, this curve, this skill started way like 5 years ago and they're only training consistently 2 days a week, there is someone who's going to train way more consistently, way quicker, way faster, and there's a girl, boop, shoot right past them. And the thing that sucks is the person training 2 days a week, in fact, may never catch up to the person who's training 5 days a week if they continue to do that, because they will reach a point where they've trained so many good deep, and I was trying to also emphasize that the type of hours you need to get are good deep practice hours, was what a comment specifically pointed out, and I like that word, deep practice. But assuming everything else is equal and the training is like the best you could possibly get, excellent coaches, both people are insanely talented, everything's perfect, everything's else the same, just number of hours, the person who's training 5 will get to a point where it will be impossible for the person who's training 2 to ever catch up. Now, that may sound a little bit disheartening, but you got to think about what the person who's training 5 hours a week is sacrificing. And, you can check one of my other videos where I talked about that. And the answer is a lot. And this is only for people who are really trying to make Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu their career. And, competitively, that's kind of maybe not the best idea. It's looking like over the next few years there might be some more money-making opportunities, but truly, if you're trying to make a career, the highest percentage way to do that is to basically run a school at this point in time. In the future, there will be more opportunities for competitions, but we're still working out the details on pay. Anyways, just because the person who is training only 2 hours a week may never catch up to the person who is consistently training 5 hours a week, also coaching, maybe also competing, maybe also doing self-study and thinking about it outside the mat, and maybe they have a friend at home they get a few extra hours of drilling with. I don't know. Just because that person's never going to catch up to the other person doesn't mean they can't get so good at jiu-jitsu that they can basically, handle almost anybody on the planet. It's just there are levels to this game, and if you really, really want to get super duper deep into, like, I'm one of the best grapplers, you just have to start to sacrifice, basically everything else. This is how it works in life. You can have anything, but you can't have everything. And if you really want to maximize your grappling, your career and other aspects, or family life, or time, just money, anything, other things are going to have to sacrifice, because if you're putting in 10 hours of hard training a week, and then I hope you're putting in at least 10 hours of recovery, probably 15 hours of recovery, active recovery, sauna, massage, stretching, all these things to repair your body, good sleep, food, all these things you need to be doing to repair your body. Like, that's honestly getting close to, at the very least, a part-time job. Now, some people are trying to make it their full-time job. Much respect to them. Just the people, what sucks is in jiu-jitsu, maybe this doesn't suck, but one thing I've noticed in jiu-jitsu is that the hobbyists and the competitors are sort of like kind of this weird amalgamation right now. There's not really a distinction between pro-level jiu-jitsu and hobbyist-level jiu-jitsu, because there's so much, honestly, fake pro jiu-jitsu. Pro jiu-jitsu where you're not actually getting paid a lot of money. Pro jiu-jitsu where essentially the promoter is the only one, and he's literally not even making that much money himself. He's maybe making it, 10 grand off the show, but really it was mostly just a hype thing that was cool to, like, show off his guys, and maybe they didn't win, maybe they did, I don't know. There's a lot of like pro jiu-jitsu that's actually not making that much money. And so there's a lot of hobbyists who are like kind of semi-pro a little bit, but honestly, if we're being truthful, there's not a huge distinction between like there is just, if you're being a professional football player, like, everybody knows that you're like a professional athlete. A professional basketball player versus like recreational basketball, like, there's a clear distinction. But in jiu-jitsu, everybody is kind of under the same gym, under the same roof, and like kind of training the same. And so you have these people who are honestly probably going to get the most benefit out of that 2 days a week consistent schedule, because you're not breaking down your body at that point. You don't have to put in so many hours of recovery because you're basically running your body on red. You don't have to, sacrifice other areas of your like there's so many other things you have to give up that really you're only getting like in jiu-jitsu, like you're getting better in jiu-jitsu, but like you got to think about the overall balance of life, and most people are trying to have like a more balanced life. So the 2 times a week is going to get really good, and honestly, you can get your black belt, you can achieve your goals, you can do, I don't know about 2 times a week if you can get your black belt, you gotta talk to your coach about that, but you can get as good as you want at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu if you literally never stop doing 2 days a week, like consistently 2 days a week, and then maybe every so often you like did a private lesson or did 1 extra class. Like you could get really, really good doing that. It would take a long time versus the person going 5 times a week, but you could still get really, really good, so I don't want that to discourage you. In fact, you can get so good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that when I was a white belt, like when everybody's a white belt, you don't realize how much you don't know. When I was a white belt, I didn't realize that it was possible to be as good as I currently, as a purple belt, am now at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But the kicker is, now that I am a purple belt and I know more Jiu-Jitsu, I know that there's more to know. And so even though I'm like worlds beyond in skill level where I thought I could ever be as a white belt, and that is because I was able to sacrifice other things and put in more than 5 hours a week consistently over, like, honestly, if you can put in more than 5 hours a week for 4 years in a row, you're going to get extremely good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And that's probably the minimum for getting like next level good. John Danhurst says you can get world class in 5 years. I say, yeah, probably. You also got to have a bunch of stuff going right for you, but 4 years is probably the minimum it's going to take to get really, really good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. A lot of people can consistently get good for like maybe 1 or 2 years, and that's kind of about where people start to drop off because life starts to change, and then they realize like, oh crap, I'm sacrificing like all this other stuff for I have a blue belt now, right? So there are a lot of things that go into that, but the core of what I'm trying to get at is it's okay if you only train 2 times a week. And I don't even want to say only, because training 2 times a week is excellent. If you're training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 2 times a week and you're also an active person, you're going to be really well equipped to handle yourself in any kind of grappling encounter. You're going to be much more equipped to handle yourself in, high stress situations. You're going to be more fit. You're going to have all these extra tools. You're going to have some friends. You're going to have all this benefits you get from Jiu-Jitsu without all the sacrifices that the crazy competitors are trying to make, where they're sacrificing almost everything else literally for the sport that kind of doesn't pay them that much money or any money at all, if we're really being honest. But yeah, thanks for watching the video. If you like this content, leave comments, because that's where I get ideas for more. Peace.